This is a person suffering from Parkinson's, tremors, rigidity, slow movement. This is a person suffering from schizophrenia, out of touch with reality, disorganized speech, disorganized behavior. And this is me, suffering from drinking too much coffee, anxiety, and agitation. The question now is, what do we all have in common? Irregular dopamine levels. So, where does dopamine come from? Dopa decarboxylase is a homodimer protein that belongs to the aspartate aminotransferase family of PLP-dependent enzymes. PLP is the active form of vitamin B6. We may also say that it has more than 5 full-time jobs, including the neurotransmitter synthesis. So, what is the function of Dopa decarboxylase? Dopa decarboxylase is the second enzyme that converts tyrosine into the neurotransmitter dopamine. Overall, the first step of the enzymatic reaction, we add the hydroxyl group to make it L-Dopa. Then, we remove decarboxylic acid using a Dopa decarboxylase to make a dopamine. For a detailed mechanism, first, PLP binds to Dopa decarboxylase via a shift-base linkage between the aldehyde group of PLP and the amino group of lysine, forming an internal aldimine. PLP then binds with the substrate via a shift-base linkage. The imine formed in step 1 of the reaction is now more receptive than a free aldehyde for nucleophilic attack by the amino group of the substrate. A quinoid intermediate forms. The orientation of the intermediate determines the succeeding reaction, for example, whether it's going to be a decarboxylation or a transamination, etc. So during the formation of the quinoid intermediate, notice that the carbon dioxide is released. External aldimine forms. At this point, histidine 192 helps tyrosine 332 to donate a proton to the alpha carbon of the quinoid intermediate. The internal aldimine that's formed between PLP and lysine 303 regenerates Dopa decarboxylase. Lysine 303 displaces the amino group of dopamine by a nucleophilic attack of the imine bond of the external aldimine. So, let's now focus on a person suffering from Parkinson's. Parkinson's is the deficiency of dopamine. The controlling step is known to be the decarboxylation of L-Dopa to dopamine by Dopa decarboxylase. Moment of truth. The cause of Parkinson's disease is generally unknown, but believed to involve both genetic and environmental factors. But overall, the mechanism behind Parkinson's is still blurry. So if Dr. Erb was doing this presentation, you would probably hear this could be your project in the near future once you graduate. So, what do we really know so far? Affected patients have lost a substantial amount of dopaminergic neurons within the substantia nigra. This results in a lack of the neurotransmitter dopamine. Current therapeutical approach include raising dopamine levels in the substantia nigra in the brain. One of the most known inhibitors is carbidopa. So let's take carbidopa as an example. Because carbidopa is a structural analog of L-Dopa, it competes with normal substrate L-Dopa for the binding site. So when carbidopa is around, Dopa decarboxylase cannot work. At this point, you might be asking, but DDC is what helps provide dopamine, so why do we have to inhibit Dopa decarboxylase? The answer is, there is Dopa decarboxylase in the bloodstream as well as in the brain. The goal is to get L-Dopa across the brain-blood barrier into the brain, where the Dopa decarboxylase in the brain will convert it in the active neurotransmitter. So novel treatments aim to monitor the activity of HDDC in a high-throughput screen mode to identify structures that can dependently suppress the activity of HDDC and dopamine levels at low micromolar concentrations. Why should we care? Because Parkinson's is the second most common neurodegenerative disease, and this can easily be us in 30, 40, or 50.
Created using Powtoon.